Good afternoon, everyone. As a parent of public school educated children, as a husband of a long-time teacher who worked with public school, as a former school board member, it is heartbreaking for me today. Our children, more than 78,000 of our children in our community return to school without the ability of their leaders to employ the necessary tools, including requiring a face covering to keep our children and our educators safe. This is on the heels of reports, and I continue to receive indicate that our confirmed case counts continue to rise, and hospitalization have continued to rise, and the ICU bed usage have increased to beyond 15%. As a result, today I am joined by Dr. Jacqueline Minter, Fort Bend County Health and Human Services Director, and also our County Attorney, Bridget Smith-Lawson, and I am joined by also District Attorney Brian Middleton, Fort Bend County Sheriff Eric Fagan, and I'm today announcing that we are raising our community risk level from an existing orange, which is significant risk, to red, which is high risk. Our medical team have advised us on how to fight COVID-19, but for too long, our hands have been tied from implementing public health measures to protect the health and safety of our residents, which has always been the number one priority in my life. And today, Fort Bend County is filed a lawsuit and requesting implementation of a temporary restraining order against Governor Abbott's executive order GA38, because that the only way we can protect our citizens and also our children. And we all know that as a local community, a community leader and local community understand our community better, our need better. And the GA38 prohibit us, the local leaders, from using the necessary tool we need to fight COVID-19 and hurt the local communities across the state in decision making. This executive order, we firmly believe an overreach essentially mandate us to stand still against the pandemic COVID-19, especially when our most vulnerable, our children, are affected. As a result, I'm also reinstating an order that all county employees and visitors to county facilities must wear a face covering. This order will also include the requirement that face covering be worn inside public school buildings. With the backing of the recommendation from the County Health Authority in response to this crisis, this emergency health directive is meant to create safe environment for our children and educators to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Additionally, this week at the county buildings, health screening resumed for all employees and visitors to our county facilities without incident, because we know that our community know the best and they care about their neighbors and they care about our community. We have always followed the science, and I said this many times. When decision making, we always followed science, data, and health experts. So we are taking this action to stand up and do the right thing to protect our children, our educators, our employees, and all members of our community. At this point, I will ask our Fort Bend County Health and Human Services Director, Dr. Minter, to come forward with specific details of threat level, and also followed by our County Attorney, Bridget Smith-Lawson will provide the details of our case we just filed. Dr. Minter?
Thank you, Judge George, and good evening, everyone. As Judge George says, over the past month, actually, we have had increasing case counts throughout our county and throughout the region. So for the past 7 days, and 7 days after that, and 7 days after that, we've continued to have increasing case counts. Last week's average was almost 300 new cases daily, and this week's average is looking like it will be even more than that. So over the past weekend, Fort Bend County hospitals reported having just 5 operational ICU beds available for our 800,000 county residents. And additionally, 2 days ago, our trauma service area, TSAQ, reported having just 27 operational ICU beds available in our region. And this is a region that's home to approximately 7 million residents. As I said, we've had sustained and substantial increases, resulting in triple the daily average that we had 1 month ago. Fort Bend County hospitals have 24% of ICU beds occupied by persons suffering with COVID, and approximately over 90% of the COVID cases now reported to Fort Bend County are of the Delta variant, and we are all aware that the Delta variant spreads much more rapidly. So recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control regarding mitigation in schools state that due to the circulating and highly contagious Delta variant, CDC recommends universal indoor masking by all students aged 2 and older, staff, teachers, and visitors to K through 12 schools, regardless of vaccination status. Recommendations from the Occupational Safety and Health Agency regarding mitigation in workplaces are as follows. Wear cloth face coverings at a minimum at all times when around coworkers or the general public. If a respirator, such as an N95 respirator or better, is needed for conducting workplace activities, then that respirator should be used. And the worker should use their cloth face covering when they are not using the respirator, such as during breaks or traveling, commuting. So in our county, we feel that it is important, and as a health authority, it is important for us to meet the needs that are recommended to take care of our residents during this incredibly challenging season. Right now, we, as the judge said, we are at the red risk level. It is different than it was before because we do know that we have vaccinated residents. And so there are some nuances to those levels as far as activity. But that is where we are now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bridget Smith-Lawson, County Attorney for Fort Bend County. Now, we hear the medical reports, we hear the data, we hear the science. The virus is not a political issue, and it's not an issue that we can resolve by way of ignoring it. And following GA 38 would have had the local officials here in Fort Bend County ignoring the virus. We would be required to ignore mask mandates, which are required or recommended by our medical professionals in stopping the spread of the virus. We cannot sit idly by and ignore the medical professionals to comply with GA 38. Our petition that was filed essentially asks the court to evaluate the authority of the governor versus the authority of local elected officials and department heads, including the local health department, their responsibility as delineated by law. It cannot reconcile itself. The governor's order essentially has all of us who are locally in the community with Fort Bend residents following his mandates while ignoring the science and ignoring our neighbors and residents who are facing the horrors of the virus. Myself, I've experienced death in my family, and I also have an 11-year-old child who cannot be vaccinated. This is not just a concern of mine. This is a concern of many parents and many constituents that have reached out to us, asking us to do something. We cannot ignore this. We have pursued a legal remedy to ask the courts to decide whether the governor's order is an overreach of our local authority, the authority of local leaders as defined by law in making decisions regarding the public health of the residents in Fort Bend County. The order that was issued was a blanket order for all 254 counties. And I don't know about you, but I've traveled the state and every county is different. And every county should have the ability to make the decisions for its residents. And that's what we're asking for. We want to take back the authority and control of our county so that we can make decisions that will be in light and in tandem with the medical advice so that we can save lives. We could sit idly by, but that is not an option. We are here to serve and protect Fort Bend County, just like our law enforcement officials, and we are using the civil remedies to serve and protect our county. Now, we know that there are going to be people that's going to challenge it, and they're going to question what we did and why. But let me tell you, the why: to protect and save lives, because that is the goal of the officials here in Fort Bend County. That's why we're asking for the courts to make a decision to give us some guidance and understanding as to our authority versus the governor's authority so that we can save lives here in Fort Bend County. We have children in school that cannot get vaccinated. They're 11 and under. They don't have the option. They cannot get vaccinated. Why would we not require them to have a mask? I don't think anyone can answer that question. We understand the authority of parents to make decisions, but guess what? When my child goes to school, I don't want someone else's parent make a decision regarding my child having COVID or not because they decided not to send their child to school with a mask. That's what we're talking about, controls, so that we can save lives. We are pursuing this remedy through the courts, not just disregarding the governor's order, but legitimately asking for relief, so that we can get a decision made regarding what is right, what is the sphere of authority for us as officials, and also the local health authority versus the governor's order, so that we can make decisions to save and protect lives. So I know you all will be watching this lawsuit as it travels through the courts. We ask that you all just, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Some things I cannot share because some things are confidential. This is still an attorney-client relationship. They're still work product. But I do want to reiterate the purpose of this is to evaluate the authority of our local officials in making decisions to save lives here in Fort Bend County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Minter, and also County Attorney Bridget Smith Lawson. Thank you. And I remember reading something, a civilized society's character is determined by how we take care of our young ones, means our children. And this is all about that. And I believe I took an oath to protect and safeguard our citizens in Fort Bend County, almost 860,000 of them. And tonight, we are taking that decision. We are making that decision, and also we are going to stand by our citizens' safety and security is our #1 priority. I always said this. Children are our most precious resource, and we must do everything to protect them. And so at this point, one of the things I just wanted to mention here, I had numerous phone calls. I talked to a mother who got a 11-year-old or lower age, couple of kids in school. One child is physically not fit, and she was literally crying. And she said, first time, she felt like the people in authority don't care about my children. And that's heartbreaking for me. And that's the very reason why we are giving that. We don't want our citizens feel like nobody care about them. They are part of this community, and we do care about them. Now, obviously, as we mentioned many times, we cannot stand still, and we are taking action. But I want Fort Bend County residents to understand and trust this decision is solely made because we are going to save life. And if you look on social media, you could see some high schools in Fort Bend with 100% full hallways today. And there are pictures people sharing on social media. That is not healthy, and this is only a matter of time. These cases are exponentially growing, and we cannot afford that continue to happen. At this point, I am very honored to join by two of our top elected officials in Fort Bend County. I will invite our district attorney, Brian Middleton, to say a few words what he thinks about what we are trying to do this evening. Brian?
Thank you, Judge. You know, there are some people who don't want to wear masks, but I don't think there's anyone who wants to be seriously ill. Asking people to wear a mask is just a minor inconvenience. I know a lot of people want to embrace their civil liberties, but asking someone to wear a mask is just a minor temporary inconvenience for the greater good of our community. Now, we're dealing with a very resilient virus. We're in the middle of a fight, a war, and our only weapons against this enemy, this invisible enemy, of vaccinations and masks. So what we're asking the judiciary to do is to give Fort Bend County and Fort Bend County officials the ability to do what is necessary to protect Fort Bend County residents. Now, what that is will be different from county to county, but Fort Bend County has a very specific need. We moved into a red category. Schools have started. We need to be relieved of the governor's executive order so we can do what's necessary to protect our children, to protect our families, and to be able to go to work safely around others. This virus is very contagious, and it's just a temporary, minor inconvenience to put on a mask, and that's what we're asking people to do. Thank you.
Absolutely, Brian, it is a minor inconvenience, and that's what we are asking. For the sake of our children, for the sake of 860,000 of our residents. At this point, I will invite our Fort Bend County Sheriff, Eric Fagan, to say a few words, please.
This is not about politics. It's about people. We should not take people's lives and make a political issue of it. It's a simple task to do to save your lives, your loved ones' lives, and others by wearing this mask. So I'm asking, as your county sheriff, to please, please wear a mask, get a vaccination, but at minimum to wear the mask. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. At this time, and I just would simply say this, we are compelled to act on the overwhelming requests, I should say outcry, from our community, our parents, and many, many children. Even the other day, there was a student here in the, at the press conference. She was concerned about going back to the school. And also, with the support of medical community, we did talk to our partners, medical partners in our community, and with the support of them, we are asking to wear that mask, get vaccinated, and help us to help you. And also I'm asking, you heard this many times, I repeat, wear that mask, get vaccinated. There is no line, there is no registration required. You could walk into one of our county facility or many other private facilities out there, get vaccinated and be safe. And of course, wearing mask and washing your hands and social distancing and all that stuff we heard many, many times last 18 months. Let's continue that. There is nothing more we can do other than more than health and safety of our community and our children. My promise to you today is I will do anything possibly I can to protect and defend our children, our community, and our people. This is about life. This is about saving life. Fort Bend County will stand strong and protect and defend our communities. This will conclude our press conference. We will entertain if you have any specific question at this point.
Governor Rabbit put out a statement saying any school district, university, or local government that mandates COVID-19 coronavirus masks will be taken to court. What's your response to that?
as you can see, we just took him to the court. So we will follow suit on that, and we will wait to see what happened. But the thing about it is, always remember, again, I don't want to get into a political conversation here. This is about saving our citizens' life. This is simply, we are asking our judge to give us relief so that we could do what is right for Fort Bend County.
Judge, what's next in the timeline for the lawsuit that you filed today? How soon can we see a decision?
I will ask our county attorney to respond to that.
We've asked for a temporary restraining order today, and from that point, we will ask for a 14-day hearing beyond this day. Now, what's yet to be seen is how the governor's office will respond, if this action will be removed to other courts. I don't know that yet. But right now, we took the step today to file and ask for a temporary restraining order, restoring the powers that we believe legitimately lie within the county judge, the commissioner, the local health authority as established by law.
Was the TRO granted?
As I stand here today, I have a lawyer down at the courts requesting the same. We just received approval to take action during a 3 o'clock meeting, closed session meeting with Commissioners Court.
How frustrating is it for you all? I mean, here we're dealing with a pandemic and, you know, you gotta do all this kind of court stuff and it's gotta be frustrating.
It's very frustrating. I mean, if you were in the hospital and you were laying ill in bed and your family had to make a decision regarding your care and had to go to court regarding your care, just think about how cumbersome that is. And also, when you think about the emotional toil that we're seeing from the teachers who are worried about going to class with kids who won't wear masks, and they can't require the same. And not only the teachers, the children are stressed out. This all has taken a toll on all of us. And so we did not want to have to go this route, but we felt as if it was necessary. We had no other choice. We could have just made some orders in flagrant disregard of the governor, but this, in our opinion, was the best route to seek a legal remedy and asking the court, just like anyone else can ask the court for relief, asking the court for relief and clarification regarding our respective roles pursuant to the law and the governor's role.
What if the court says, you said you guys were willing to do whatever it takes, let's say the court says no, what happens next?
If the court says no, we would have did what we were supposed to do. We went and we asked for legitimate relief. Now, whether I can refile and restate my causes of action, that's yet to be seen. But we are not going to take this lightly, and we're not just going to file and walk away and take no for an answer easily.
And for the judge, we asked you last week if you were going to pursue this legal route, and you had told one of our reporters no, and that you believed in educating instead. What has changed in the last week when you decided to file?
Yeah, you heard the numbers from Dr. Minter, and all that numbers are suggesting, and also the recommendation from the medical community, suggesting these numbers are exponentially growing and beyond our control. And you also heard the hospital beds availability in Fort Bend County area, and that is alarming, and that's the reason why things, you know, definitely we are at a point where we have to take action. That's what we took today.
Hypothetically speaking, if the judge does side with you all and grant you all the power to require masks in county facilities and schools, and then people decide not to do it themselves, will the sheriff's office, will local law enforcement take action against those individuals that aren't abiding by your orders?
Definitely, that is, first of all, we have to get an order from the court. You know, so I don't want to speculate on how we are going to be doing this and that, but the thing about it is we are waiting for that order. Our county attorney, Bridget Smith-Lawson, will advise us what we are hearing, and then we will decide what course of action we need to take.
So the mandate's not in place now, right? You've got to wait for the TRO?
I just received word that the judge has signed our temporary restraining order. So it is in place, and as soon as my lawyer gets back to this building, we'll be able to go through and discuss our next steps. But the first step of filing in the temporary restraining order has been successful.
Do you know when the mandate might take effect?
The temporary restraining order is effective immediately, so as soon as I get it.
So once that, and I'm sorry, did you say it was signed?
Yes, it was
Okay.
signed.
So it's a done deal for you all? at
It's
this
a
point.
done deal for us right here locally, here in this district court. Yes,
So
sir.
can you all right now require masks in county buildings?
Yes, sir.
And who is the judge? Which
I am waiting, I'm here with you all. I have another lawyer down there. They'll bring it to me to confirm the court. It's original proceeding, so we did not have a assigned court and docket number yet, so I'm waiting to see the same myself. And let me provide some clarification. Last week when we had our press conference, I made it very clear that my office was constantly evaluating this. We've been looking at this for weeks now. We did not want to make a rush decision. This is something we take very serious. But given that school started today in Fort Bend, for Fort Bend ISD, our largest school district, and no action was taken, we can't sit and wait until children start being affected by COVID and the numbers spike exponentially to then decide to do something. That's the timing of this and the lack of action has gotten us to this point, and we feel that there is no other choice but to take action to save lives.
So tomorrow, can we expect to see kids and staff members at schools here in Fort Bend County wearing masks?
As far as we know, yes, we're going to issue the orders, and we're hoping that everyone complies and does what is best for children and best to save lives according to what the guidance is from our local health authorities. Remember, this is not a political issue. This is a true medically found virus that has to be treated by medical professionals and followed in terms of us following the guidance of medical professionals so that we can get past this.
If a student or a teacher said, no, I'm not gonna wear a mask, would they be prohibited from walking?
We will defer to the local health authorities as to the next steps. During the spring semester and even in 2020, when we had local school districts that did not want to comply with our local health authority, there were conversations, there was interfacing with Dr. Mentor, and we did not have any, I guess, very strong pushback. Ultimately, people complied, but whatever the next steps will be, we will take it up as it comes.
And if you have any questions following, then you can speak with them individually, but that concludes our question session for right now.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this late in this evening, and thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.